it right there, Richard. This is not only a day about our junior choir and their success, it's also a day about you. And it's a time for us to say thank you for what you have done and achieved over, I think, the last 7 years. David said beautifully how powerful music can be in our lives. It's also very powerful in our worship. And we're always very pleased to have good music in our worship here at Holy Trinity. You won't be surprised to learn that, of course, I've been preparing to the paperwork that goes to making a new appointment. And in doing that, I look back at what we asked you to do 7 years ago. What we asked you to do were 3 things: to train the choir, to develop a junior choir, and to develop our lunchtime concerts. You may not remember, but that was what we actually asked you to do. And that very much largely is what you have done very successfully, and for which we really need to thank you. Yes, there have been lots of other things as well. You played the organ beautifully. You helped enormously through the pandemic and in the recovery from the pandemic. Very much part of that process as we got back. But what we remember you for, what we know you for, is firstly the work that you do with the senior choir. I've worshipped here for over 40 years. I've never known the choir as good as it is today, or this last few weeks. Thank you. And secondly, well, it says it all, doesn't it? The wonderful group of new choristers, and promotions to choristers, which wouldn't have been possible without you and the work you have done particularly through the choir club, in encouraging youngsters to not only to sing, but to enjoy singing, which is most important. And the lunchtime concerts, well, there was a foundation there, but you have certainly developed it and got it into a regular pattern, which we're very, very grateful for. So for all that, we are extremely grateful and sorry that the time has come, but it does come for all of us, doesn't it? We do have to move on. So thank you. And we have had a little bit of a collection, and people have signed a card. It made some discreet inquiries about what we might give you. And we were told it's not the easiest person to buy for. So we've opted out. We've let you make the choice.
That's lovely.
So there's a card, and there's actually a check in there.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now there are 1 or 2 more.
So much, Julia. That's lovely. Oh.
And yeah, as a token of appreciation from the choir, we offer you a selection of fine wines, which of course includes some Bolney wines.
Excellent. Oh, thank you so much.
And a case of the best British beers.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
And as you have taught us so many notes over the years, I thought you might like some notes for your wine and beer.
Oh, okay. Handle these very carefully. They always say that you know when the time is right, don't they? And I think that is the case. As Brian said, it's almost 7 years since I started here. In fact, it's 7 years almost to the day that I met with Father Michael, just to talk about things. We weren't really sure whether he was interviewing me or I was interviewing him, but we sat in the Talbot, sank a couple of pints and decided that we got on rather well. And here we are, as I say, nearly 7 years later. And I've just had a wonderful time, basically. But it is time to move on. Some of you will know that I've got a big birthday coming up next Sunday. I'm rather touched that the Church of England decided to celebrate All Saints on my birthday, but there we go. I'm sure it's pure coincidence. And big birthdays, I think, always make you look at where you are and what's happening and where you're going. And I get tired, doing this job which is so wonderful. And you might think, yes, a couple of hours on a Friday and a couple of hours on a Sunday. But if I tell you that this job, when it's done properly, can easily be 20 or 30 hours work in a week, and I'm getting to the age where that's just probably 15 or 20 hours too much. And I am getting old. Do you know, I was on the tube coming home from the airport the other day with Heathrow, and a lady, probably in her 40s or 50s, looked at me and said, "Oh, you look as if you need to have my seat." And I thought, well, here we are then. We're really getting old now. So it's time to move on. But we've achieved a lot. And people say to me, so what were the highlights? And that's difficult for me, because I'm not really a highlights person. I mean, Cuckfield does the big event, doesn't it? Cuckfield loves a big event and does it well. But if I say to you the highlight for me would be knowing that Sunday by Sunday by Sunday, not to mention the Friday evenings, these wonderful people, these out here and these up here, that they're here to provide beautiful music to enhance our worship. And we always have this sense that we're here not to perform, not to give a concert, but to enhance our own worship and the worship of everybody. You probably know that I grew up in the Congregational Church, what became the United Reformed Church. And there was a wonderful tradition there where the congregation really sang up in all the hymns and anything else that was sung. And one of the things that I've loved at Cuckfield is the fact that this is a congregation that likes to sing. And even this morning, when you sang with us that Kyrie, that beautiful plainsong tone, it was just a lovely sound. And this, of course, is a beautiful, lovely church. Works well for music. But again, I find myself probably hearing my dad, who was the minister in the church, speaking in my ear and saying, yes, but the church isn't the building, is it? And of course, no. What makes this church so special for all of us is not the walls, not the wonderful ceiling, not the organ, not the choir stalls. It's you, the wonderful people. And I've just had such a great time working with you. And I thank you for everything that you've given me, not just the gifts and the cards now, but everything that you've given me. And as we all move forward, as we must, I'm so pleased to know that the immediate future is organised. The senior choir, the choristers, are going to be in very, very capable hands. And that's great for me to know and great for all of you to know. And it's important that you keep going. Choir Club couldn't exist without the wonderful team of people who help Friday by Friday by Friday. I won't embarrass them by asking them to stand up, but there are a group of adults who regularly have helped and will now have a bigger role. Could we have a round of applause for the Choir Club team? And then, of course, you move forwards, not long at all now, as Brian was saying, until the new vicar arrives. And I'm sure that's going to be a time for opportunity and renewal and something to really, really look forward to. And as for me, well, yes, I think some Sundays when I don't set the alarm early and, and just sort of perhaps zoom in on a service here or there. I'm not moving away. Jane and I have homes in Bolney and East Grinstead, and we're still planning to use those. But we do now have 2 overseas properties. I use that phrase rather cautiously. One is on the Costa Blanca, the other is the Isle of Wight, but it's still overseas. And we are looking forward to having a little bit more flexibility and the opportunity to be away. But it's said, isn't it, that the Lord never closes one door without opening another. And if I tell you that this time tomorrow I shall be sitting down with the church wardens of one of the major churches in the Isle of Wight to look at part-time opportunities to help them develop their music in a group of churches, then I think that's where the Lord is now leading me. So hopefully our paths will cross. You'll see me around in Cookfield Village, waiting in the dentist's surgery to be seen to or whatever. Perhaps from time to time back on the organ console here. I'm certainly available if needed. And I can certainly say that I will treasure these years that I've had with you, and you will remain very much in my thoughts and my prayers. And so, thank you, and thank you.